Decoding historical mysteries through unseen artifacts prologue. The chamber in the earth. I still remember the sound, that hollow, echoing thunk when my trowel hit something solid in the damp soil. It wasn't the sound of stone. No, this was different, hollow, metallic, ancient. The air down there was heavy, thick with the scent of centuries-old dust and candle wax. My headlamp cut a narrow path of light through the darkness, revealing carved walls lined with faded murals, scenes of stars, rivers, and figures wearing robes that didn't match any known culture. And then, in the center of that hidden chamber, beneath the monastery, I saw it, a sealed bronze box, engraved with a language I had never seen. Not Sanskrit, not Latin, not hieroglyphics, something other. I had no idea that opening it would set in motion a journey that would take me across continents, into forgotten ruins, through storms and shadows, and into the pages of a history humanity has long since buried, the map of silence. 3 weeks earlier, I had been in my office at the University of Vienna, sifting through donation boxes for the rare manuscripts department. That S when I found it, a cracked leather journal inside a parcel with no return address. The handwriting inside was precise, but uneven, as though written in haste. In between the cramped notes were strange diagrams, concentric circles, triangular constellations, and sketches of small objects, each labeled artifact, but the real prize was the fold-out page at the back, an old vellum sheet, brittle at the edges, covered in lines and symbols. My training in historical cryptography told me immediately, this was a map, but not in any conventional sense. It had no compass rose, no scale. Instead, it seemed to reference astronomical positions. The landmarks were not mountains or rivers, but alignments of stars and shadows. And at the bottom, scrawled in Latin, were the words, Cui vidir non possunt, regunt, those who cannot be seen, rule, the first clue. The first location was hidden in plain sight, a cathedral in northern Spain, known more for its wine cellar tour than its history. Inside, I found what the journal had called the first keeper, a carved relief of a robed figure holding what looked like a sphere covered in spiraling grooves. But the grooves were more than decoration, they matched a pattern in the map. Late at night, when the cathedral was empty, I returned with tracing paper and copied the grooves. As I did, I noticed something strange. The pattern wasn't continuous, it was broken in 7 places, like pieces of a puzzle. When I overlaid the tracing on the vellum map, a second location emerged, the high desert of Peru. Across the sands, Peru greeted me with heat and dust. The Nazca Desert stretched endlessly, the famous lines just faint scratches from where I stood. But I wasn't here for the lines everyone knew, I was here for what lay beneath them. The journal's notes led me to a flat expanse, miles from any tourist path. Beneath my feet, the ground sounded oddly hollow. With a rented ground-penetrating scanner, I found it, a buried chamber, likely undisturbed for centuries. Inside, I found the second artifact, a crystalline disc, flawless and cold to the touch despite the desert heat. Its surface shimmered faintly when turned, as if reflecting light from another world. But there was something else, a thin strip of beaten gold, etched with the same language as the bronze box in the monastery. I took photographs and carefully packed the artifact. I wasn't alone, though. My driver, a quiet man who had barely spoken since we left town, suddenly asked, "Do you know what you carry?" When I didn't answer, he said softly, "People have died for less. Shadows in Istanbul." The third clue took me to the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul, to a shop so small, it didn't seem like it should exist in the labyrinth of stalls. Behind its dusty shelves was a trapdoor leading to an Ottoman-era tunnel. At the end of the tunnel, I found a locked chest. Inside the third artifact, it was the smallest yet, a fragment of an obsidian tablet, engraved with swirling lines and tiny embedded stones that looked like stars. When I placed the 3 artifacts together, something unexpected happened. Light refracted from the crystal disc onto the obsidian, aligning with the grooves from the cathedral tracing. The pattern formed a new star map, one that didn't match any modern sky. It was then I realized this wasn't a treasure hunt. It was a message, one that could only be read by assembling all the artifacts. The last guardian, the final coordinates pointed me to the frozen wilderness of Siberia. After 2 days on a snowmobile, I reached the ruins of a stone circle buried under centuries of frost. There, in the center, was the final artifact, a hollow metal sphere, impossibly light, covered in tiny moving mechanisms, like a clock with no hands. When I touched it, the mechanisms began to turn on their own, producing a faint hum. The hum resonated with the crystal disc, the obsidian fragment, and the cathedral tracing. Together, they revealed a projection, not of a place, but of an event. A vast city, illuminated by strange energy, surrounded by waterways that no longer exist on Earth. In the sky, constellations in positions they would have held tens of thousands of years ago. The artifacts weren't just remnants of the past. They were a record of a civilization older than any we know, perhaps older than humanity itself. Epilogue: The choice. I sit now in my study, the artifacts locked away, the journal back in its crate. I could publish my findings, but I know what would follow. Governments, corporations, secret organizations, all scrambling for power over what they don't understand. I think of the words on the vellum map: those who cannot be seen, rule. Some truths are too dangerous to set free, and yet, in the quiet hours of the night, I can still hear the hum of the sphere, as if it's calling to something, or someone, far beyond our world.